Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The top stories of tonight are: arrival of the President of the Republic in Doha, Qatar. And before leaving the country, President Gili received credentials from 6 new ambassadors. And on the international scene, summit of Arab and Muslim countries convened following the Israeli attack targeting the state of Qatar. Welcome back in our newsroom. President Gili arrives in Doha for urgent Arab Islamic summit. President Ismail Omar Guelleh arrived in Doha this evening to attend a joint emergency summit of the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation convened at Qatar's request following Tuesday Israeli airstrike on Qatari territory. And upon his arrival at Doha International Airport, the President of the Republic, President Ismail Omar Guelleh, was warmly received by Qatar's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State of Defense, Sheikh Saud bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. In an official statement, Djibouti strongly condemned the Israeli attack as a clear violation of international law and Qatari sovereignty. The government called on the UN Security Council to take immediate action to prevent further escalation. The summit aims to provide member states with concrete security guarantees against future attacks. The President of the Republic, let's recall, is accompanied by a high-level delegation including Foreign Minister Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar and several key ambassador representing Djibouti in the Arab and Islamic world. In an interview on the Qatar television, President Gili warns that the attack on Qatar threatens Arab and Islamic security. On the sidelines of the emergency Arab Islamic Summit in Doha, Djiboutian President Ismail Omar Guelleh reiterated his country's full support for Qatar, stressing the importance of unity in facing regional threats. President Guelleh stated that Djibouti's participation reflects a firm commitment to defending Arab and Islamic causes and rejecting aggression against any brotherly nation. According to the President of the Republic, collective action is essential to regional stability. Commenting on the recent Israeli airstrike, President Guelleh warned it was not an isolated incident but a direct threat to Arab and Islamic collective security aimed at destabilizing the region and undermining confidence in joint defense capabilities. The President of the Republic called for a unified Arab response backed by strong political will and international consensus and urged the strengthening of a deterrence mechanism to prevent further attacks. President Guelleh praised Qatar's resilience, attributing it was to wise leadership, national unity, and regional support. He finally concluded that the attack aimed to weaken regional unity, but predicted it will instead lead to stronger cohesion and deeper cooperation among Arab and Muslim countries. An extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit will take place next Monday in Doha in response to the recent Israeli attack on Qatar. Foreign ministers are meeting today to draft a final statement seeking a strong and united stance that goes beyond mere verbal condemnation. Diplomatic sources say options include a downgrading relation with Israel. Before leaving the country, President Guelleh received credentials of 6 new ambassadors at the presidential palace. The President of the Republic received today the credentials of 6 newly appointed ambassadors on Sunday during a formal ceremony held at the presidential palace in Djibouti. The ceremony began with the presentation of letters of credence by the new ambassador of France, Jérôme Brisson. President Aguilé warmly welcomed the French diplomat and expressed his appreciation for the long-standing ties between the two countries, Djibouti and France. In his remarks, Ambassador Brisson highlighted the deep-rooted friendship between the two nations, stating, "Our friendship is deeply anchored in the hearts of our people, with our commitment, that of the French president, to a strong and mutually beneficial partnership. I will work," he said, "to strengthen our bilateral relation." He further emphasized his commitment to deepening political dialogue, boosting exchanges, and advancing common interests across various sectors, particularly in the economic and social field. President Gili also, on the sidelines of the meeting, received the letters of credence of Mutrik bin Abdullah Al Duzari, the newly appointed ambassador to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to Djibouti. Following the presentation, Ambassador Al Duzari expressed his satisfaction with the strong and friendly ties between the two nations. He reaffirmed the commitment of the custodian of the two holy mosques and the Crown Prince to further strengthen the relationships between the two brotherly and friendly countries, Saudi Arabia and Djibouti, stating, "We are dedicated to enhancing our bilateral relations in a way that serves the interests and aspiration of both brotherly peoples." The letters of credence ceremony reaffirmed Djibouti's continued commitment to strengthening its diplomatic relations with key international partners. The President of the Republic received also the letters of credence of several new appointed ambassadors. President Gili continued his series of diplomatic engagement on Sunday by receiving, this time, the letters of credence from the new envoys, Ambassador Ahsan Nawaz, the newly appointed ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, to Djibouti. President Gili welcomed Ambassador Nawaz with warmth and respect, expressing his government's readiness to work closely with Pakistan to strengthen existing ties. In her speech during the ceremony, Ambassador Nawaz conveyed her country's strong interest in deepening cooperation with Djibouti, particularly in areas of mutual interest such as trade, education, and maritime security. Pakistan is committed to expanding its partnership across Africa, and Djibouti, who plays a pivotal role in our regional strategy due to its strategic location and active diplomacy, she finally concluded. The President of the Republic received this time the letters of credence of Ambassador Olivia Todorine, the new ambassador of Romania to Djibouti. In her address, Ambassador Todorine praised Djibouti's efforts in fostering stronger ties with the European countries and reaffirmed Romania's interest in deepening diplomatic and economic relations with the country. Djibouti's stability and strategic role in the Horn of Africa make it an important partner for Romania in the region, she noted, emphasizing the importance of mutual cooperation in areas such as ports, logistics, renewable energy, and higher education. Both Ambassador Nawaz and Ambassador Todorine hold the title of Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, the highest diplomatic rank. President Gili received letters of credence of Egyptian and Tanzanian ambassadors. As part of ongoing diplomatic engagement, President Ismail Omar Gili received the letters of credence of two more ambassadors. Ceremonies are held at the Presidential Palace. Ambassador Abdurrahman Rafat Al-Katab, the new ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Djibouti, officially presented his letters of credence to the head of state. In his remarks, Ambassador Katab reaffirmed Egypt's commitment to strengthening bilateral relations, stating, "I am fully committed to advancing and implementing all the outcomes of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's recent visit to Djibouti last April, in line with the joint statement issued at that time. He also appraised the level of cooperation between the two countries in strategic sectors like port, free zones, energy, health, education, and culture. The President of the Republic received also the letters of credence of Ambassador Innocent Shio, the newly appointed ambassador of the United Republic of Tanzania to Djibouti. Both ambassadors used the occasion to express their strong commitment to enhancing ties of friendship and cooperation with the Republic of Djibouti. In his address, Ambassador Shio emphasized Tanzania's intention to deepen bilateral partnership, particularly in the areas of trade, investment, and economic development, expressing hope for closer cooperation with Djibouti in the near future. These diplomatic exchanges underscored Djibouti's continued effort to strengthen its international partnerships and play an active role in regional development and stability. Another news this morning at 8:30 a.m. Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan, Minister of Defense in charge of Parliamentary Relations, and General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, received Brigadier General Paul Kahria Njema, Director of the East African Standby Force, and his delegation. Djibouti hosts the East African Maritime Meeting. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohamed, and the Chief of General Staff of the Djiboutian Army received the Commander of East African Standby Force and his accompanying delegation. The exercise represents a major step toward strengthening regional cooperation, improving operational coordination, and building the collective capacity of ESF member states. They both reaffirmed Djibouti's firm commitment to promoting peace and regional, highlighting the country's long-standing engagement in Africa and international peacekeeping mission. Both delegations officials also commended the role of the ESF Maritime Security Secretariat and international partners in supporting capacity building efforts and fostering multilateral cooperation in maritime security. For his part, Major General Paul Kahria Njema did not fail to thank the Djiboutian Authority for their warm welcome and reiterate the strategic importance of Djibouti, located at a critical maritime crossroad connecting the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Moving on now to Addis Ababa, where a high-level delegation from Djibouti led by the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Hassan Ahmed Ibrahim, took part in the second African Climate Summit held in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa from 8 to 10 September 2025. The minister was accompanied by technical advisor Mohamed Yaqub, as well as Mohamed Ismail, Director General of the National Meteorological Agency of Djibouti. The summit aimed to approve and launch the regional framework for climate services in the Greater Horn of Africa, a key initiative designed to address the climate change issues. Oil spill contained at Eron Beach thanks to local expertise. Last Friday, a merchant navy vessel accidentally spilled fuel oil during maintenance at sea. Summer winds carried a part of the spill to Eron Beach, a popular spot for locals. Djibouti's National Port Authority responded immediately by alerting national police, securing the area and temporarily closing the beach. Clean-up teams led directly by the port commander were deployed both at sea and on land. Authorities did not fail to emphasize that thanks to years of local training and capacity building, Djibouti was able to handle the situation without foreign assistance. As of today, 90% of the population has been cleaned, with the remaining 10% still being treated. The Port Authority continued its effort with the goal of restoring the beach to its natural state and reopening to the public soon. the the radio, television of Djibouti reporters on site observed that the professionalism and commitment that the cleanup team highlighting Djibouti's ability to manage such crises independently. Still with the national news, local authorities hold emergency meeting following repeated fires at Humbuli Cemetery. In response to the recurring fires at Humbuli Cemetery, the Deputy District Commissioner of the 3rd District, Habi Hared, held a consultative meeting this morning at his office. The meeting brought together representatives of civil society, residents of nearby neighborhoods, Elmi Noor, Director of the Department of Islamic Affairs, Musa Awale Shide, Deputy Head of the District of the 2nd District, and Captain Dila Murgan, Head of the 3rd District Police Division. The main objective was to address the growing concerns and damages caused by the recent fires affecting the cemetery, a site of religious and cultural significance for many Djiboutians. Participants highlighted a key issue, the improper disposal of household waste by local residents in and around the cemetery grounds, showing a lack of respect for a site where many families have buried their loved ones. The meeting also allowed for a discussion on the security challenges posed by the cemetery locations, which is in close proximity to hundreds of residential homes, raising serious concerns about the public safety. In conclusion, all participants agreed on the urgent need to preserve and protect this sacred site. They also welcomed the initiative by the Minister of the Interior to enhance public lighting in the area and open additional access points to facilitate police patrols and security monitoring. Taking the floor, the director of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Elmi Noor, emphasized the importance of the meeting. He explained that they had gathered to discuss the recent fire that broke out in the Humbuli Cemetery. He believed that the cause of the fires was the waste left around the cemetery. He warned that if the flames reach this waste, they will likely spread to the cemetery and its surrounding. He also stressed that the ministry was working hard to protect the cemetery and keep it clean in close collaboration with the nearby residents. Finally, he called on everyone to respect the sanctity of the cemetery, maintain its cleanness, and avoid throwing any waste that could cause fires or other hazards. For his part, the sub-prefect of the 3rd District, Haibi Hared, responded to the recent repeated fires at the Humbuli cemeteries. He explained that the purpose of the meeting was to study and address the problems caused by these fires, which had directly affected by the cemeteries. He expressed regret that some residents were disposing of their household waste in the cemeteries without respecting the sanctity of the place where many Djiboutian loved ones were buried. He added that the meeting also provided an opportunity to discuss the security aspect of these sites, which are located near hundreds of homes, increasing the importance of their protection and maintenance. To the regional stage now, the second African Climate Summit in Addis Ababa. Kenyan President William Ruto announced that the African Green Industrialization Initiative is moving from discussion to action, aiming to raise $100 billion for green industrialization in Africa. Major African banks and institutions, including Afrexim Bank and the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, committed to supporting renewable energy industries, boosting trade, and creating green jobs. The initiative will focus on critical minerals, green fuels, and battery manufacturing. This commitment marks an historic step in Africa's climate leadership. Kenyan runner Peri Shepshirshir won today the women's marathon gold at the 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo. She completed the 42.195 kilometers race in 2 hours, 24 minutes and 43 seconds. Uruguay Julia Peternina surprised by taking bronze in her first World Championship with a time of 2 hours, 27 minutes and 23 seconds. Turning now to the international news in Gaza. At least 62 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since Saturday morning due to the ongoing Israeli bombings, according to hospital sources reports.
52 Palestinians have been killed since dawn this Saturday in Gaza due to continuous Israeli bombings on the Strip, according to hospital sources. The occupation also destroyed a residential tower as well as dozens of building centers in Gaza City. The same medical sources specifies that among today's victims, 49 were in Gaza City, while 7 others were killed while waiting for humanitarian aid in the center and southern parts of the Strip. In recent developments, rescue and emergency services reported the death of 4 people and several injuries during an Israeli strike targeting a displaced persons tent set up at the Palestine Stadium west of Gaza. Red Crescent Field Hospital indicated that 13 people were injured in an Israeli drone strike on a displaced persons tent in an Al-Masawi area, Khan Yunis, in the south of the Strip. 5 others were also injured in a similar strike in the same area. In the Tel Al-Hawa neighborhood south of Gaza, several Palestinians were injured during a bombing targeting a building sheltering displaced persons near Al-Quds Hospital at a time when warnings are multiplying regarding the worsening humanitarian situation amid ongoing attacks on medical facilities and shelter centers. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugee, UNRWA, stated that entire neighborhoods of Gaza and Jabalia are being evacuated, that over 86% of the city is now under forced displacement orders.
The 29th IRENA Council concluded today in Abu Dhabi, bringing together over 400 government representatives from 169 countries and the EU, reports.
The 90th Council of the International Renewable Energy Agency concluded today in the Emirati capital after 2 days of working that brought together over 400 government representatives from 169 countries as well as the European Union. The discussions were dominated by the issue of energy security and the diversification of supply chains. IRENA presented its last analysis on the geopolitical and economic development in renewable sectors, with a particular focus on the solar photovoltaic industry. Diverse, resilient, and transparent supply chains are essential to achieve the goal of tripling renewable energy production capacity by 2030, said Francisco La Camera. Council members also decided to intensify investment in sustainable aviation fuels, considered crucial for decarbonizing long-haul air transport. The agency highlighted its new initiatives aimed at supporting the transition of SAF projects from the conceptual stage to bankable project through its financial platforms.
Finally, the European Union has postponed the adoption of its new climate target to next week after some countries, including France and Germany, rejected the plans to quickly reach an agreement, EU diplomats confirmed. Tariq Atnan.
Countries of the European Union have postponed their approval of a new climate change target the next week after some governments, including France and Germany, rejected plans to quickly reach an agreement. European diplomats confirmed. European Union ministers were scheduled to approve the emissions reduction target for 2040 on September 18, but 3 diplomats told Reuters that European Union country ambassador cancelled this plan at a meeting last Friday. Ministers indicated that they will discuss the target next week before negotiation are brought before heads of government for any official agreement. The European Union aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 90% by 2040 compared to 1990 levels, with the possibility of covering part of this target through the purchase of foreign carbon credits. Observers note that failure to reach an agreement next week could lead the mission to deadline to submit new climate plans to the United Nations ahead of COP30 scheduled for November in Brazil.
So that's it for tonight news. Thanks for being with us and have a good time.